This is the Horse Radio Network. This is episode 56 of the Stable Scoop Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network. The world's top equine entertainers in one show. Please support our sponsors as they make this show possible. Equestrian Collections brings the whole universe of equestrian shopping to your fingertips. Visit them at equestriancollections.com. And also to Easy Signs Online, the #1 farm sign company in the United States. Order online at easysignsonline.com.
Welcome to the Stable Scoop, with weekly shows delivered right to you. With Helena and Glenn the Geek, live from the stable, it's every week. They bring you the news through hail or high water, while using their tails as their own fly swatters. So sit on down and laugh till you poop, cause it's time again for the Stable Scoop. Stable Scoop. The Stable Scoop. Stable Scoop.
This is Glenn the Geek.
And this is Helena B. And you're listening to the Stable Scoop Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network.
Well, welcome back, Helena.
Well, thank you. It's good to be back, Glenn.
I know. I would like to say that you were off on vacation at the beach in the Caribbean, just enjoying yourself, but you weren't.
No, but I am enjoying myself. I am at the beach, and no, I'm just not in the Caribbean. We moved. Yes, we finally moved.
You moved, and you moved into your new cute place.
It is very cute. It's very old, and it's very cute, and it's not too far from the beach.
So how far are you from the ocean?
We are a mile.
Oh, well, you can walk there.
Yeah, maybe just a skosh over a mile.
Wow, cool. So
Yeah.
do you feel the ocean breezes where you're at?
Yes, you do. It depends on which way the wind is blowing, but you can smell the ocean. Sometimes, like earlier this morning, I was able to smell the ocean from my house, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. And I know you love the ocean. That's one of your passions.
My ultimate dream in life is to be hacking my horse down a quiet country road with the smell of salt water in the air. So I've got the saltwater part. Now I just got to get a horse I can ride.
At a quiet country road.
No, there's quiet country roads here.
Okay,
Plenty.
so you have that. You have that covered.
Lots of rock walls, lots of natural. This is the best hunt country without a hunt. Honest to goodness, the footing is beautiful. There's so much open space. There's rock walls, all kinds of wonderful natural jumps. It truly is. It's a cross-country rider's dream.
Now, I noticed, I looked at the pictures on Facebook, and the house is cute as a dickens, and it looks like you're getting moved in there already.
We're getting there. We still have some stuff lying around, but it's such a cozy little place that we really don't need half of the junk that we had in our other house to make it feel homey.
Now, has the horse moved too, or is the horse still up north?
He's still up north. He comes down October 1st, and I'm going to full board him for a little while till we can get some fencing up and get settled in, and then I'll be able to keep him at home.
Yeah, I noticed that the one field you took a picture of looks like plenty big enough for a horse or two.
Yeah, I mean, for a horse person like me, it's my friend's joke that I think every horse needs at least 5 acres to himself. Right. But it is a small farm, so I'm going to be looking into horse keeping on small acreage. But it's flat, it's dry, and the grass is the vegetation is fabulous. It's so nutritious. So I think we'll be able to keep Zeke at least fat and happy on what we have here.
Now, is it sandy soil?
I don't really know.
Oh, okay. You haven't dug in the ground yet, huh?
Well, my husband has.
Okay.
My husband has. And the other horse people around here say that some have had their pasture tested and others have not. Others have just gone with anecdotal evidence on their horses getting really fat once they brought them down here. So we'll see.
Oh, cool. Well, you know what? I think you're gonna have fun there. It looks like a great place, and it has a guest house, so my wife and I can come and visit.
Yes, you can.
That's right.
Yeah. We're like booking. We're booking the guest house like 6 months out now.
Now, let us know when there's furniture in it. We'll come after that. Okay.
Oh, there's furniture in it now. So we'll see you on the weekend.
Oh, cool. All right, we'll be there. Well, Helena, we had to thank Templeton Thompson for filling in for you last week. She did a great job. She's just a lovely person.
Thank you, Templeton.
Yeah, she was in there 2 weeks in a row, and I think she was just vying for your job, wanting to kick you out. But
well, when I go on vacation, she
she did a good job. And, of course, we had Julie Goodnight on as well and Jean Lambrecht, and we had a little round table that seemed to be very popular, and people seemed to enjoy it a lot.
Geez, you were really lacking in the expertise in that show, huh?
I know. We did have our fill of knowledge there, that's for sure. And there was some lively discussions about different things. So if you didn't get to hear that one, just go to stablescoop.com and listen to last week's show. And I didn't disappoint you. You always accuse me every time you go away, and I have to find somebody to fill in for you, that I end up with like 3 good-looking women. And I think I did pretty well this time, too.
Surrounding yourself with 3. Yeah, I don't know how you do it.
I just call up and say, Helena's not going to be here. You want to come over? And they all come out to play. So that was nice. It was nice. It was a lot of fun. I didn't have to say much. They pretty much, that round table, they had their opinions, and it was nice to hear them go at it. And, Julie's always a good arbiter of opinions anyway.
Those are the ones, the roundtable shows, which usually happen in my absence, that I miss the most because, I started this whole, well, I didn't start it, but I joined up with you to do the Stable Scoop thing so I could sit around and talk about horses. So and I always miss the best horse discussions.
I actually think we need to do more of it because it is interesting. It elicits a lot of conversation, and it's not question and answer kind of conversation. It's spontaneous, and I think it just makes for a very interesting show.
Yeah, I agree.
So we seriously should take a look at doing more of it. And they were very respectful of each other, and there wasn't a lot of talking over each other, which is difficult when everybody's on the phone.
That is hard because you can't see the nonverbal cues of conversation. Yeah.
Right. Which we can't see each other either. Most people think we're sitting in the same place. To answer everybody's questions, I got a couple of emails in the last 2 weeks about that, how we do the shows. Helena is a long way away from me, and we're both sitting in our offices, and she is speaking from her Mac to my Mac. And our microphones and all our recording equipment and all that stuff. But no, we do not see each other when we record the shows.
But we know each other so well that I can see you in my mind.
Well, that's true. We've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
And we know each other pretty well, too. And we actually like each other. That I think helps, too.
Most times, yeah.
Well, we do have an action-packed show for everybody today. We had 3 guests lined up for today, and unfortunately, we've lost connections with one of them. Tommy Turvey was supposed to be on today because this show is all about equine entertainers. We had 3 equine entertainers lined up for you, and it looks like we're going to have 2 on the show today. We missed Tommy, but we're going to get him on a future show. We just got our wires crossed a little bit there. But you know what? The equine entertainers that we have on with us today are some of the top in the industry, and I think we can say that one of them is the top in the industry now. And that one, our first up today, and I know we're so excited to talk to her again, is Darley Newman of the PBS show Equitrekking. And Helena, you remember when we talked to her back a little while back, I think it was episode 49, I believe.
It was a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we talked to her. She was on her way to the Emmys because her show Equitrekking on PBS had earned 2 Emmy nominations.
That's right.
And we
were dying to hear her report from the red carpet.
I know. Now she's gone, and she actually has won an Emmy. So that's why I'm saying that puts her pretty much on the top of her game. That makes her a top equine entertainer. There's not too many equine entertainers that have won an Emmy. So we can't wait to hear about her walk down the red carpet there in Hollywood and who she got to meet and all of that. So we're going to have her on here shortly. And then we also have, and I know this, that I love entertainment. I used to own an acting company. We performed for 10 years. So I love entertainment, and I love what our next guest is, the kind of show he puts on. Tell us a little bit about Denny Chapman.
Ooh, Denny Chapman bills himself as a professional announcer, equine entertainer, trainer, and clinician. He performs all kinds of super cool stuff, Roman riding, mounted trick shooting, Liberty horse acts, and I'm so dying to talk to this guy because He does whip cracking, roping, and fire jumping.
Yes.
Anybody who can list that on their resume is okay in my book.
And he does a ton of shows a year. He's very popular.
Yes, and he's an accomplished trainer and clinician. So,
yes.
I think you need to have that foundation before you go whip cracking and fire jumping.
Yes, and trick shooting in large venues is probably...
But at the top of his field, I would definitely say that Denny Chapman is the fellow to turn to if you want to fire jump.
Great. So we're going to talk to Denny later. He's also a professional announcer, and I talked to him on the phone here a little bit. And he's a nice guy. He just
loves his work.
Yes, definitely. And I can't wait to hear how he got started and how you go from, just being a rider into trick shooting and fire jumping. I'm interested to hear how that works out. And I know he works with a lot of young people, too, on learning his craft. So we'll have to talk to him about that as well.
Yeah, which is nice to hear, too. It's somebody who's been successful in what they do to then turn around and share it and give back to the community. Denny definitely does a good job with that.
Good. Well, we're going to get to both of our guests shortly. We're just going to do the commercial right now, get that out of the way so we can get our guests on because we're very excited. Helena, let me tell you, Equestrian Collections is stocking up on even more stuff. They claim to have over $100 million worth of merchandise in stock at any given time. Well, now the fall merchandise is starting to come in. And if you're thinking about buying a blanket this year, if you need a new one, if your old one has holes in it or your horse stomped all over it and you just can't use it anymore, or it's just 20 years old and needs replaced, consider Equestrian Collections first. They have 19 brands of blankets and sheets, including Rambo, Rhino, Weatherbeater, Professional's Choice, and on and on and on. They have tons of them. Wow. So, yeah, when you're looking to buy a blanket again this year, go to equestriancollections.com first. Take a look at them first and, check them out. Their prices are fantastic. Their shipping rates are great. So, they're definitely a good option when you're looking for the fall blankets and also the fall clothing. There's nobody that carries more clothing than Equestrian Collections. That's how they started. They're a full-service tack shop now, but they were the place to go for clothing for riders. And their fall merchandise is coming in from all the major brands. They have a lot more than 19 brands of clothing, that's for sure. And they do still carry. She started out carrying the plus sizes when she first started years and years and years ago, and they still do carry the plus sizes. So if you're in need of a plus size, Equestrian Collections is still your place to go, even after all these years. And they are also offering a $10 coupon right now for Stable Scoop listeners, just for you. You can get $10 off an order of $120 or more. When you're doing the checkout, just type in Stable Scoop, 2 words, Stable Scoop, and you'll get $10 off your order of $120 or more. That's coupon code Stable Scoop when you check out. That's all at equestriancollections.com, where you can find the universe of equestrian shopping at your fingertips for a price you can afford. Well, now we need to talk to somebody who's on PBS, who does the show Equitrekking. Very popular show in the horse world. She's one of the very few to have a show about horses on major mainline TV around the world. Darlie Newman. And Darlie was with us in episode 49 before the Daytime Emmys. And it was nominated for 2 Emmys, and she ended up winning one. And let's talk to her about what fun that was. Well, hi, Darlie, and congratulations on your Emmy. That is so exciting.
Thank you. It's so exciting. We definitely did not expect it, but we were very excited.
Well, I bet you were. Oh, my gosh.
She's our first Emmy winner.
Oh, my gosh. We were just so excited to get nominated. And then, we're sitting in there at this room full of people, and they're all famous and these big TV executives, and we're sitting there like, wow, we're here with Equitrekking.
So what did you win for? Tell us what the award was for.
We won for Outstanding Single Camera Photography, and I'm really glad we won for that because if you've seen our show, it's really difficult to film our series in general on horseback, and the fact that we do it with one camera is amazing. So I was really glad that we won that category because I thought we deserved it.
Well, yeah, and you were up against some competition. It's not like you didn't have any competition.
Oh, no. Up against MTV shows and shows on A&E, and these are just much bigger organizations and production companies. We have 3 of us that are out there riding around the world doing this show. So it's pretty amazing that we were even in there and in the category at all.
Well, now, you were nominated for 2, right?
We were also nominated for Outstanding Special Class Series, and didn't go to us. It went to MTV True Life, which once they got up on stage with like 30 people, and they gave their speech and they said, "Yeah, we're so glad to get this. They've been on the air for 11 years." Wow. And I was like, "Wow, that's some really tough competition."
And I even saw This Old House filmed up near Helena, up there in the Northeast, was one of them, right? On one of
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So tough competition, but I mean, it just shows that the judges are looking at all these different shows, and it's so many things on daytime television. So it was really exciting just to be there.
And to have something that's so niche related. I mean, yes, there's the travel part of it, which appeals to everybody, but we can't forget the equa in equitrekking.
I know. There definitely weren't any other, horse shows in the room. And
have any other horse shows ever won an Emmy for anything? I
don't know.
Mr. Ed, maybe.
Probably.
But even if you compare, like, just not a horse show, like, have there ever been any soccer shows or tennis shows that won an Emmy, or any other sports-related, specific type of show?
I'm sure there have been some sports-related, but I mean, our show is just so different. Mixing horses with travel is it's new. I mean, I don't think it's been done before, and especially not in the way we're doing it. So it was definitely... I'm glad that the concept has taken off.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, we'll be interested to see if your ratings, if this has a direct effect on ratings.
I think it's definitely helping already. I mean, we're getting some good press, and people are I'm getting so many emails and responses in general, and people are just really excited about it. So we're really excited about it, too. So I think it'll definitely help the series and definitely help more people see it.
All right.
And
we have to ask about the party. So now you how was the red carpet? By the way, you looked beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I don't think the paparazzi knew who I was, but
well, they will now.
There were paparazzi there, and I walked by, and this one lady was looking at me and probably thinking, "Who is that?" And I just gave a big smile and walked on down. It was fun, though. There was a big after party after the show, and they're just tons of different people that a lot of people I recognized, and I didn't necessarily know who they were. I think there were definitely a lot of soap opera people, which is kind of interesting. I don't really watch the soaps, but I would see someone and think, I think I know who that is, and I've gone home and looked up some people.
So did you get to meet anybody really famous?
I was very close to Alex Trebek.
Oh, really? Well, I didn't think about it. Was Drew there? Because he's now doing that the game show there, Drew Carey.
I didn't see Drew, but Wendy Williams was there. She's kind of gotten pretty big recently. She was a radio host for years in New York City, and now she has a daytime talk show. And she actually got up and was presenting some of the awards, and she's very funny. She had her whole room, we were really laughing, so that was kind of funny.
So this was for the daytime, so it'd be people like Rachel Ray and Oprah and all of those, right?
Well, they weren't at our award ceremony, but they were definitely receiving daytime Emmys. We had a bunch of people in front of us from the Ellen show. Ellen was not there. But yeah, from the Ellen show. And then there were all these people. Bindi Irwin was there.
That's Grace's favorite. Bindi's the Jungle Girl.
Yeah, so she's with an animal category. I don't think she had a nomination. I'm not sure, but she was definitely there. So it was fun just to kind of be there and stargaze and
Did you come in a limousine?
No, we didn't.
Did you come in on a horse?
I walked on in my high heels. I thought about a horse, but gosh, downtown LA, I don't know about that. That would be probably our most treacherous ride.
So what was the best part of the whole experience, you think?
The best part was just being there with Chip and Greg. That's our crew, and Chip's my husband, and that was just so special. And Greg was so excited. He's our director of photography. He's been doing this for 30 years.
Is he the one that we saw in the video holding the Emmy?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
This is his first nomination, and he definitely deserves it because he's so talented. And he was so excited, and his family was there in L.A., so his children were, trying to pick up the award, and they couldn't because it was too heavy. And
It was bigger than I thought it would be.
It's heavy. I don't know what they put in there, but.
So now, do you each get it for a third of the year? Is that how we're
doing?
Yeah,
we're going to pass it around and just kind of have it. I said I want it under the tree at Christmas so I can wake up again and feel like I've won again. I don't think the relatives will want me to make a speech, though. So.
Well, this is fantastic. We're you have the whole horse community very excited for you.
Oh, congratulations, really.
Thanks.
And you're heading off to a very exciting place coming up, right?
We leave in less than 2 weeks for Jordan.
The country of?
The country of Jordan, riding in the desert, going to Petra, visiting the royal stables, interviewing Princess Aliyah. So it's going to be amazing.
Wow, you're getting big time here. Princesses.
Yeah. How long will you be spending in Jordan?
We're going to be in Jordan for 2 weeks. So lots of different Arabians I'll meet.
What's the?
I noticed you've been studying up on Arabians.
I have been.
I've been following your tweets.
I know. I'm doing a lot of research.
Well, they're like any other horse, just a little flightier.
Well, I rode Arabians in Turkey, and they were wonderful. So I don't know. We're spending the night in the desert with Bedouins, and the Bedouins have been breeding Arabians for a long time.
Yeah,
so I think that'll be fascinating.
You and
Nothing
the
like
Bedouins.
going to the source.
What did you say, Huima?
Nothing like going to the source.
Yeah, I know. Seriously.
If you want to learn something about Arabians, you go to the Bedouins.
Yes, and that's what we're doing.
What's the weather going to be like over there?
I think it's going to be hot.
It's sort of their summer. Well, I mean, it is the desert. Dumb question.
Yeah. I was talking to someone just a couple of days ago who's been to Jordan a lot, and they were saying, yeah, definitely you're going to want, light clothing and long sleeves because the sun's going to be intense and all that kind of stuff. So it should be pretty warm, but I don't think it'll be as hot as it's, been over the summer, which is nice.
And we're not at war with Jordan currently, so you should be safe, right?
We should be fine.
Okay, good. Just checking.
The Arabian horses are fast enough, so at least we'll be okay with that.
Yeah, no kidding. If you got to get away fast, I'd rather be on an Arab.
Yeah.
Well, Darlie, you have a great trip. We cannot wait to see the results of your trip to Jordan. That'll be fun.
Yes, it'll be 2 episodes, so lots of good stuff.
Now, how long does it take? Like, you'll be filming those next week. When will we actually see them on TV?
You'll either see them in January or May. We haven't decided on the release date yet, but it'll be winter or spring, so
okay.
Not too far away.
All right, great. Well, good luck. You have a lot of fun, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Wow, what a great job. I'm so happy for Darlie and the Equitrekking crew. It was definitely a well-deserved award.
If she could have jumped through the phone, I think she would have. She was very excited.
Well, that's proof that good things happen to good people.
Yeah, and the trip to Jordan sounds like a true adventure too, doesn't it?
I know. To sleep with the Bedouins.
I know. Meet the princess
horses?
and go to the royal stables. And
I know. Give me a coupon code for that.
I don't know. It's exciting and all kinds of scary and thought-provoking and everything all at once because it's so exotic.
Yeah. Well, that's Equitrekking. I mean, that's what that show content. That's what helped bring them to the Emmys.
Yeah, definitely. And I can't wait to watch that one. It's going to be interesting to see what she finds in the desert.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Well, speaking about interesting,
can I tell a funny story first?
Oh, fine. If
Can
you have
I
to.
please?
Yes.
So we're talking about deserts. My brother-in-law is a Green Beret, and he was in the first Desert Storm way, way back, 10, 12 years ago. When they were trying to liberate Kuwait after Saddam had taken over Kuwait. Well, he was with the Kuwaitis because he was a Green Beret. He was training what was left of the Kuwaiti army, and they were on the border during that 40 days of bombing that we did. Mm-hmm. And he would hear the planes going over, 24 hours a day and that kind of thing. But they were in the middle of the desert. He actually had a picture he showed us. It was the one tree within like 80 square miles. Oh. It was just this one little tree growing up out of the sand. And he had this picture of it with all of them around this tree. But so they were there with the Kuwaitis in the desert, training them and getting ready to be the first in the invasion force that went in. And they were the first in the invasion force that went in. But he said the food was kind of scarce. And when you're a Green Beret, you rely on the locals, in this case, the Kuwaiti soldiers, to feed you. And he said every single day of the 40 days they were there, they would disappear into the desert and come back with a goat. He didn't know where they got the goat. He didn't know how they got the goat. He said, we never asked, but that's what you had for dinner every night was goat and rice. And, of course, they eat it all out of the big center bowl, and everybody just takes their hands and scoops.
Sure.
He, to this day, cannot even look at a goat. He said he will never eat goat again. He said if they're in a field, he can't even look at them. Because he got so sick of eating goat. Why that story came out? Oh, Bedouins and deserts. That's how that story came out.
I was going to say, how do we get goats in the desert? So 40 days of eating goat and rice.
Yes, pretty much. That's what they had every day.
Okay. Man.
He was so happy when they finally invaded, just so he could get some real food.
Oh, I know. Thank you to all our U.S. soldiers who gave up so much for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, he actually, that particular, when they invaded his unit, they were the first into Kuwait City, which had been ravaged by Saddam's troops. But he said that was one invasion. He never fired his rifle the entire time because they just had clean sailing because the bombing had done so much.
Yeah.
But his unit, his medic was one of the ones who saved the elephant who had been shot in the zoo.
Oh, God. Okay, we can't talk about this.
Oh, no, but he saved him. So,
I know.
So that was a good thing. So
that was a very good thing. Good thing.
That was all over the news back then. So
I know. I know. I can't even handle hearing about it. I have to just be in denial that stuff like that.
Well, we'll deny that and go on to Denny Chapman.
Okay.
Tell us about Denny.
Denny, what a great guy. And it's too bad that most of his shows don't really come up to New England, but he is an equine entertainer extraordinaire. He is definitely one of the most popular entertainers on the Western circuit. He is a professional announcer, as I said, an equine entertainer, a trainer, and clinician. He's probably most well known for his mounted MC work. He's done singing cowboy performances and specialty training clinics. And let's not forget his accomplishments as a trick rider and mounted shooting rider. I hope I got that right.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, Denny's been featured.
I hope you got it right. He carries a gun, for God's sake.
And he jumps through fire, for goodness sake.
I know. You're in trouble if you got it wrong. I hope we're saying his name right.
No, Denny he's been featured at many prestigious horse fairs, rodeos, and equine events. So let's get on and talk to Denny. Welcome.
Well, hi, Denny, and welcome to the Stable Scoop Show.
Well, hi, guys. How are you?
Good. It's always fun to have another entertainer on.
Well, I'm pleased to be a part of your show. I'm a fan of your show. I've heard it on several occasions. Matter of fact, recently I heard you interview one of my buddies, Templeton Thompson.
Oh, Templeton was actually co-hosting for Helena last week.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So do you ever, since you are known for being a singing cowboy, have you done any singing with Templeton?
I have not. I'd love to do that, and I by no means put myself on the same level as Templeton's a professional recording artist. I just happen to be a lucky, I think, multi-talented entertainment sort of cowboy who can hold a tune, and I think a few venues have caught on to that, and they've been asking me to sing a little bit for them, and I enjoy it. But I would love to sing with Templeton. That would be an honor.
Well, and I'm sure she would love to. She's just the nicest, sweetest person you ever meet.
She sure is. She's genuine. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's not a lot that you don't see there with Templeton.
Yeah, this is true.
So how did you get started doing the professional entertainer thing?
Well, totally by accident, really, I think. I've always been a horseman. Well, when I say always, I mean since I was a teenager. I didn't grow up with horses. I guess, can I back up and tell you the whole story?
Yeah.
How much time you have?
Wait, let me get comfortable. I got to put my feet up. Hold on. This is the best part about being on the internet.
Wait a minute, I'm adjusting my chaps here.
Whoops.
Okay, I'm ready.
I got interested in horses about the same time I really started getting interested in girls. 13,
That's not a
14 years old.
coincidence, is it?
That was
I guess
smart
not.
move, actually.
Yeah, I grew up in southern Illinois in a rural area, and I didn't have horses, but I was in a very small town, and most of my buddies were on farms, and any chance I had to jump on somebody's old backyard horse, I would. But I started, I worked at a fox hunting stable, cleaning stalls and cleaning the hound kennels in exchange for riding lessons when I was about 13. So that was my first experience with horses under guidance. And it just kind of flourished from there. And I rode horses through college. I was on a couple different collegiate equestrian teams. And by the time I graduated college, I went straight to work for the Kentucky Horse Park, which I know you guys are very familiar with. And I have to back up. I studied equine science and journalism, radio, TV at Murray State University, and learned a lot there about horses, and kind of trying to figure out what I want to do with my horse career. So I graduated college, went straight to the Kentucky Horse Park, and I had several different job descriptions while I was at the park. Most of them involved hands-on work with horses. And the last several years I worked there, it grew to the point that I had my own show there, and it was called Denny Chapman's Best of the West, and I was kind of a one-man Wild West show with special guest performers on occasion.
Huh.
But I'll back up a little bit. Pardon?
Yeah, how did you make the leap from fox hunting to Western ride?
Yeah, well, don't get me wrong. I wasn't one of those privileged fox hunting kids. I really, I took lessons on some well-skilled horses and worked really hard for it. But I guess I was in the right place at the right time. As a kid, and I was learning from these people at this stable with these really talented horses and brave horses. I should tell you, a good fox hunter, you can point them at anything, and you just better hang on because you're going over it. Yes. But I met a guy who was showing cutting horses, and he introduced me to the world of cow horses and Western performance horses. From there, I kind of met some folks and learned to ride reiners. I showed working cow horses. I learned how to team rope. I learned how to head and heel both. I ended up kind of liking the heeling end of things. And so by the time I graduated college and went to the Kentucky Horse Park, I was well into horses. I was an AQHA member. I was competing in several different disciplines, and I had a good wide variety of English and Western and dressage and some stuff like that, but no entertainment stuff. But while I was working at the park, I was exposed to a lot of really neat people. And the one person that was most influential on who I am and where I am today is Mary Rivers, who now is my better half. And she used to come to the horse park as a clinician. In a nutshell, Mary just has more knowledge in different disciplines of riding and entertainment than probably any one person in the world. And she and I hit it off as buddies. She taught me a lot. She taught me to trick ride. She taught me to Roman ride. She taught me how to work trick horses. And I knew a little bit. I dabbled, as a youngster in some of these things and just trying things out and being wild and crazy like kids will. But my last 15 years or so, I really learned a lot, and I have to credit Mary with a lot of that, and kind of made me who I am today. Well, most definitely did.
What's Roman ride?
Roman riding is, Tommy also Roman rides. It's standing up 1 foot on each horse, riding two horses at once standing up.
Roman, as in Roman, Italy, Roman riding. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
So you met Mary. She introduces you to this whole new world of riding and training. Yeah. Did you at the time have any goals or aspirations as a horseman? You obviously have a great education behind you. You've got now this whole new education. Did you say, I've got this wonderful knowledge base, and now this is what I want to do with it?
Absolutely. I said, I got to do this stuff. I got to do it. I got to do
this is what I'm going to do with my life.
With it. Yeah, because I learned later in life, and I didn't start trick riding and Roman riding until I was in my late 20s, early 30s. So I learned really, really late in life, and I'm 41 now. So and I'm still Roman riding. I don't trick ride anymore. My shoulders kind of have started wearing out after several years of spinning big loops. In my Best of the West show, my shoulders say I've had enough, but I still Roman ride and I still work trick horses. I still do some stunt work and things like that, but I entertain. I'm more of a variety entertainer. I do a lot of stuff. I guess jack of all trades is the term. Any good cowboy entertainer, variety entertainer can trick rope a little, do some whip artistry, with the cowboy whips, maybe sing a little, work the trick horses, ride a high-schooled horse, maybe Roman ride, trick ride a little bit. And that's kind of who I am. But I kind of concentrate on a lot of interaction with the audience. And I think that's what sells me. I think that's why I have a lot of recurring contracts, because I work a lot off of my personality and having fun. And I speak to the audience a little bit more than the average entertainer does. And of course, with the singing, I love to sing, and that's always been successful for me as well. So I'm not, there are so many good equine entertainers out there, and I could name, a dozen names for you right now who are probably really, really, I couldn't touch them in their one discipline that they do, but I'm so lucky to be doing all these different things. And the mounted shooting, I didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, I was just that's what I was going to ask about, because that makes you a little bit different.
It does, and really I've developed a whole separate sort of sideline career just from the sport of cowboy mounted shooting.
Now,
and if you've never heard of it.
What will you do? Right, tell us, for those that haven't been to a rodeo and seen you perform, or haven't been to one of your performances, what do you do when you do that?
Okay, an average rodeo special act where you come and see me. Well, I have one act right now that one of my sponsors, Suncoast Betting, is particularly fond of, and I call it the Suncoast Surfing Cowboy. And I enter the arena to a mix of Junior Brown Surf Medley and Wipeout on my Roman team, running into the arena, Roman riding, and I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt, and my horses are wearing beach blankets under their Roman riding pads, which are special. They look sort of like bareback pads, but they're customized for me, that I can stand on. And they have Hawaiian lays around their necks, and it's very sort of beach and festive. And anyway, I'd enter on my Roman team, and I'd run around the arena and stop and salute the crowd, and I would do some fire stunts with the horses, serpentine, these flaming fire poles that shoot a flame, 2 or 3 feet in the air, and I'd split them. And at some point I'd take one horse, and he would lay down and sit up and refuse to get up and do a little comedy for me, and a little bit later in the act. This is all kind of crammed into about 7 minutes, because that's what most rodeos want, is give or take about a 7-minute act. And, I jump on the other horse. I do a little mounted trick shooting. I jump a fire jump.
Now, what's mounted trick shooting? What do you do there?
Well, we're using black powder blanks and shooting balloons with them on the run while galloping by them. And I even have some that flame up and explode, sort of pyro effect, that kind of make it really exciting. So, this mounted shooting thing has really, really grown. It's, I use it in my entertainment, and I stick it in my specialty acts where I can. And I'm a professional cowboy mounted shooter. I compete in this sport much like a professional rodeo cowboy does, on a professional basis. And I'm also a clinician for the sport, and I train horses for the sport. And it's a very good business for me. And I've been able to kind of intertwine that into the entertainment. It's Wild West, if I lay one of my horses down and pull out an old Winchester 66 Yellow Boy rifle like you see in the cowboy movies, and lay over my horse and take a couple shots, I often do this stunt in my acts, and people are just not only amazed that I have a horse that'll put up with that, but the fact that I'm actually, it's I don't know, it's just cool cowboy stuff, and you pull out a gun and start shooting these blanks.
No, everybody loves that stuff, especially us guys.
Well, wait, I'm guessing that you work mostly with quarter horses, yeah?
I do mostly, but we have Friesians, and we have Friesian Arab crosses, and I've worked with warm bloods because I can ride. We ride dancing horses and high schooled horses as well. Although I really kind of specialize in the Wild West stuff, and that's mostly quarter horses.
What's a high schooled horse?
Well, a high schooled horse, from an entertainer's point of view, is a horse that will march, Spanish walk, bow, rear, piaffe, passage, things like that.
That's a lot of what Tommy does. Tommy does a lot of that stuff, yeah.
He does. Fancy dressage movements, but kind of circus style for entertainment. Yeah, Tommy does that stuff as well, and we also do liberty work. Tommy does some great liberty work, too. If you've never seen his stuff, it's really awesome.
So when you get a horse in that you're going to train, well, let's say, okay, for your group of horses, one of your horses, what is the ideal age that you like to start training a horse for the type of work that you do together?
Well, it just kind of depends, I have about 6 horses, I guess, now in the string that either perform or are backup horses, are ready to perform or compete, because, as I said, I do this professional competition as well. And my personal preference is about a 14 3-hand quarter horse or paint horse of a quarter type. Paint horses can be thoroughbred or quarter horse.
Right.
About 14 3 hands, because they're low to the ground, easy to jump on and off, that sort of thing. And I like a horse that's a little bit of a troublemaker, that likes to be a little mouthy or likes to maybe a little overly curious, because they tend to make good trick horses. I like an athletic horse. I don't care if they're registered or not. I look at their conformation and make sure they have good legs and they're not too long in the pastern and all sort of things. I like a close, short-coupled horse. And they'll kind of let me know what their job description is going to be. We'll play with them. Mary taught me this. She used to ride on one of the she rode on the world-famous white stallions, I think it was called, one of the Lipizan shows. And they would get young horses and put them in the pillars. In other words, they kind of cross-time, and they just kind of play with them. And the horse would eventually show them what their talent would be. And I do that kind of the same thing. I play with them until they show me kind of what they tell me what their job description is going to be. I rarely say, well, this is going to be a trick horse. This will be a fire jumping horse. This will be a hind leg walking horse. This will be this and that. I kind of let the horse tell me. And you gotta know what to look for.
Are you dealing mostly with a blank canvas, or will you take a horse that's had a previous career and,
That's a good question. I'd rather have a blank canvas, but my best trick horse, and if you look in some of these magazines like Hoof Beats and some of these magazines you see down in the Southeast, you'll see a Suncoast ad with me and one of my horses, a little dun quarter horse, and he's sitting down on a shaved bag of Suncoast bedding and smiling, and I'm sitting down in front of him. That's Dusty. And I got Dusty when he was 12 and reschooled him and made a Roman ride and a trick horse out of him. And he is, but I think he was kind of the exception of the rule, because he fit all the categories I liked. And a friend of mine had him, and he'd been turned out in the paddock for a long time. I just fell in love with him. I started fooling with him, and against my better judgment, I started just kind of putting some training on him for my friend. And next thing I knew, I had the horse, and I trained him some more, and I told my friend, you just better let me just buy this horse. So she finally broke down and sold Dusty to me, and he's such a great horse. He's now the spokes horse. Is that a word? Spokes horse?
It is now.
Person.
If you want it to be, anyway, it is.
He's the Suncoast bedding horse, yeah. So he's the exception to the rule. But, yeah, I kind of rather have a blank canvas because, I still do horse training for a living. We take horses in for training, and not just for trick and specialty training, but we'll take horses and start them for people and things like that. And that's part of our living as horse people. And Tommy does the same thing. We have to do that to supplement our living because, we're not performing somewhere, 52 weekends of the year. We'd like to be, but the economy dictates that we have to do some more things.
How often are you out? Are you out 20 weeks of the year, or are you?
Well, I tell you, the simple answer is go to DennyChapman.com and click on my upcoming events link, and you will be amazed at how busy I am. And I can't put an exact number on it, but holy cow. You just take a quick gander at it, and you'll be like, oh, boy.
Yeah, no kidding. I was looking for something up here in the Northeast there, Denny, but I'm not seeing anything.
Up in the Northeast? Mm-hmm. Where are you located?
Well, I'm now in Rhode Island, but, Boston, New England sort of area.
The last time I was up your area, I did a mounted shooting clinic up in Pennsylvania, and I think it's been about a year and a half ago.
Holy crap, Denny. I just looked at the list.
I know. Holy crap.
The nice thing about living down here in Ocala, Florida is this is rodeo country and horse country all year long, and so I don't have to travel as much as I did when I was up in the Central Kentucky area. Matter of fact, I even had a contract to entertain in Waterloo, Iowa at the National Cattle Congress for an event a couple of years ago, and they hired me to drive up all the way from Ocala all the way up to Waterloo and back. But that was I could kind of pick and choose, and, I got a call from it's like Oregon or Northern California not too long ago, and I said, I'm not really excited about hauling my horses that far, and I referred them to some other good entertainers, and I can kind of pick and choose because between the entertaining, the training, the mounted shooting competitions and clinics I do, we're doing okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, Denny, you're going into my old stomping ground here. I performed as a at the Renaissance Fair in Pennsylvania for a lot of years, and then owned my own acting company doing medieval feasts. And I see here you're doing
cool.
Is it Hogtown?
The Hogtown
Medieval Fair, in Gainesville.
Hogtown Medieval Fair, yeah. If you go to my blog spot, which is dennychapman.blogspot.com, you'll have to go back through the archives. You'll see pictures of me Roman riding in sort of medieval attire on my guys. And yeah, I know they didn't have quarter horses back then, but you know what? When I come out doing it, then people don't think about that. They just go,
you know what? There were a lot of anachronisms when we performed.
Yeah. We take. You're right. Yeah, I hear you. We take several of our Frisians to that event as well.
Oh yeah, that would be great. There, actually, put them in some of those medieval outfits, especially.
We do. We have sort of our own string of trick riders and Roman riders. Matter of fact, we got a young lady living with us named Stephanie Cons, who came down from Ontario, Canada, and we got her. We went through the whole official process and got her work permit, and she is our apprentice entertainer and trainer. And she does an adagio act on one of our Frisians, which is like artistic trick riding, and which is really neat. And she does that at the Hogtown Medieval Fair. So anybody who's listening, who's down in the Florida area or wants to come down when it's cold up north, they can probably Google that Hogtown Medieval Fair online. They can come and meet me and Stephanie and Mary. Mary will be riding side saddle there in one of her Frisians. So it's we kind of got a pretty neat little family. Oh, and Mary's son, Deke, is a third-generation cowboy performer, and he's a world-class gun spinner and whip artist.
Wow.
So we kind of have our own little Wild West show on one property.
I was going to say.
Yeah, so how
in the house every day.
How do we get you guys to come up?
Any given day you drive out to our place, you might see us schooling. We have a new Roman team that a friend of mine gave me his old chariot team, Jim Hall, up from Michigan. Matter of fact, he had a team of chariot horses that were the mascots for Michigan State University, I believe it was.
Ah, okay.
So, I don't know, you guys
the football games. Yeah.
Football games. Anyway, you might see us schooling a new Roman team while one of the kids is practicing trick riding, or maybe I'm breaking in a new mounted shooting horse or something, and Deke might be out spinning some guns or doing some fast draw. And so it literally kind of looks like a Wild West circus.
I was going to say, so we got Roman riding and them all shooting at each other. So there you go.
Yeah,
that's a perfect family. Well, I'll tell you what,
it's a
Denny.
fun life. What can I say?
You know what? You're leading a great life, and we often get questions from teenagers, and we've covered this many times on the show. Is every teenage girl, especially, wants to grow up to be working in the horse world, and I think what we've proved by doing the show, Helena, is that there's more to work. There's a ton of different opportunities in the horse world. Just some of them not as traditional as others.
Right, and you
I would agree.
If there's something you think you want to do, I mean, would you say this is true, Denny? If there's something you want to do, just ask.
Yes,
hey.
Helena, absolutely. It's just a matter of finding the right resource. We have young ladies from all over the country that'll come down to us in the in the wintertime that want to learn how to trick ride, and we'll have, trick riding camps. And even though trick riding is still kind of considered a dying art, we're seeing a little bit of a reemergence of it, and most of them started out as little girls who loved horses and wanted and aspired to do something special with those horses. Erin Mullis, Abigail Peterson, our apprentice Stephanie, just to name a few. There are many, many good girl trick riders out there, and yes, you do have to be creative. You do have to be, sometimes you have to create your own work. You have to market yourself properly. But it's just a matter of finding the right resource to pursue those aspirations.
Well, I mean, and that's what we did.
The opportunities are there. You just have to kind of make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we did. There were no radio shows that we could work on that were about horses, so we created one. That's
perfect. Absolutely right. And because I kind of got started later in life. I mean, I got lucky. I talked the Kentucky Horse Park into letting me show them what I was capable of, and then they said, "Oh yeah, let's do this," and we sort of created our deal. But I had to work at it hard, and I really had to make a good presentation, but it worked. And it's a big part of who I am and where I am today, and I'm so blessed and thankful for that.
Well,
we're thankful you did it too.
Yeah, we're great too. Yeah, so it's Denny, Denny Chapman, ChapMan.com.
That's right.
You can find out more information about Denny. You can see videos and pictures of what he does. And
check out the Surfing Cowboys.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a Surfing Cowboy clips. Guys, I have to tell you, I've had some great support by some. Can I mention a couple of my sponsors that you'll be familiar with? Mane and Tail, Suncoast Bedding, Mane and Tail, Impact Gel Saddle Pads. There's a guy down in Alto, Georgia, Rod Kibler Saddlery, that has taken care of my my pro gear for my mounted shooting, my leather, and Taylor's and Company Firearms even let me help design a brand new mounted shooting gun model they're going to have out in a couple of months. So I got a lot of little hot irons in the fire right now.
You have your own gun.
I have my own gun. Yeah, it's called the Running Iron. Yeah, you can go to taylorsfirearms.com and check it out. It's pretty neat. How many cowboys can say they got their own gun? That's
Does fire come out the end and things like that, or?
When you put those mounted shooting blanks in them, they sure do. You betcha.
Does it have a little mustache on it, or you left that off?
No, you have to do that yourself.
Okay. Well, this has been great. We thank you so much for stopping by, and I encourage everybody to stop by there, see the videos. Go to YouTube and look them up too. There's a bunch of them on there.
Anybody out there who has a question, send me an email. I've got an email link on my website. I'd love to help out young people who love horses, want to know more about them, and specifically want to know more about equine entertainment.
All right, Denny, thanks a lot. We appreciate it. Well, that was a lot of fun. Denny's a great guy. He would make a good, if I ever can't be on the show here, he would make a good co-host too, wouldn't he? He's got that talent.
He's got that talent. He's got the passion, the enthusiasm, and the radio voice.
And the radio voice, exactly. I was jealous, actually. I didn't tell him that.
You've got a good radio voice. Can you sing, though?
No, I can't sing. See, he can sing. We ought to get him and Templeton on for the Christmas show. Remember we talked about with Templeton having a Christmas show where she sings some Christmas songs and stuff?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be great to get Denny and have them do their first duet together like we talked about just now?
Yeah.
That would be, we're going to have to keep that. That'd be great for our Christmas show.
Okay.
We always kind of keep that light and, just fluffy. That's light and fluffy. So
That's us, light and fluffy. If you want light and fluffy, stablescoop.com.
I may be light and fluffy in personality. I don't think I'm so much light and fluffy in build, actually.
I got the fluffy down, the light not so much.
That's because I cook too much and your husband cooks too much. That's the problem. That is the problem. My wife's been complaining, you've been feeding me too well.
Your wife?
Yeah. So it's not many wives that can complain about that, I think.
Has she been cooking?
No, I've been cooking. She said, you've been feeding me too well, she said.
Oh, she said that.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. She's complaining I'm feeding her too well.
Yeah, Jennifer and I have that in common. It's our talents in terms of cooking come to using a can opener.
Right. And saying to your husband, what's for dinner tonight?
Mm.
Yeah. Hey, you got a professional cook in your house, though. It's even worse in your case.
No.
Well, everybody, be sure to listen in next week as we speak about the personality of the horse. We have a couple of great guests on with us, and we're going to talk about horses' personalities. They all have them. It's funny because people that don't know about horses just assume they're just blobs and they don't really each have personalities, individual, unique ones.
I know a few blobs.
Yeah, I've owned a few blobs, actually. But most of them have personalities, and some of them just, and that's something I really want to talk to them about, is some have more personality than others. I guess just like humans. But what develops that personality? Have they determined, is it genetic? Is it environmental? What is it that develops that personality? I guess that goes back to the same question with humans.
Right, nature versus nurture.
Exactly. So I think that there's a lot of places we can go with that, talking about and they also have put together the lists of personalities that horses have. So I'm interested to hear the lists, and we can all relate to certain horse personalities, I'm sure, because we've anybody that's owned a number of horses has owned multiple different personalities. Some of them all in the same horse.
Yeah, your wife, for example.
Yes, exactly.
She's had some real winners.
She likes off-the-track thoroughbreds, and some of them have been absolutely the most wonderful horses ever, and some have just been psychotic and should have been on medicine.
But are still, there's something to love. I just recently coming off caring for an ex-racing, show-jumping thoroughbred mare who's now retired, and everybody calls her crazy, but she's not crazy. She's a little hot, but she's very predictable. And
right.
I think once you get to know these quote unquote crazy horses, you realize that they're not so crazy. So I think talking about the different types of personalities is going to be so interesting for a lot of people.
You're just talking about retired racehorses. I wanted to mention that on the Eventing Radio show this week, you can find it at eventingradio.com. We have a gentleman on who's putting on a clinic in Maryland on it's like a 2-day clinic or one or 2 day clinic on how to train ex-racehorses. The proper way to train ex-racehorses, and he has a whole day lined up of some very good trainers and things. I think it's going to be an excellent clinic, so you can hear about that at eventingradio.com. And, of course, we have an ex-racer here in the house. We have a greyhound, and it's amazing how much greyhounds and thoroughbreds have in common. They have a lot of common traits.
Which is very interesting because one is a predator and the other's a prey animal.
Exactly, which we talked about. Interesting that you mentioned that, and it reminds me, we got an email that I wanted to read to everybody. Last week we talked about how similar cats and horses were.
Yeah.
It came up in the conversation. Well, we got an email from Nikki, and I thank Nikki for the email. She said, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know I enjoy all of your shows. I first discovered the Eventing Radio show earlier this year when my mare's due date conflicted with me being able to go to Rolex." Always happens that way. "I looked online for a way to follow what I was missing at Rolex and discovered your show. Since that time, I subscribed to your podcast for Eventing Radio, Stable Scoop, the Dressage Radio, 2010 Radio, and Horse Tip Daily."
Wow.
And she felt the need, I guess, in case we forgot which shows we do, to list them.
Well, we do. She knows us, Ben. She has been listening.
"I love them all and love that I can download the podcasts and listen to them on the go or at the barn. Thanks for bringing such great shows to all of us. Also, a comment regarding the show I listened to on Stable Scoop last week. Another way that horses and cats are similar is in their cardio system. I had a very ill horse that I had to take to Ohio State University for a Doppler EKG, and the vets kept talking about cats as they were looking at my horse's heart, and I must have given them a crazy look. They explained that heart issues aren't as common in horses, so they look at studies with cats to compare to horses because their cardio systems are very similar." Much smaller, though.
Yeah, but I mean, I've owned cats all my life, and knock on wood, I've never had one with a heart problem.
Yeah, that's interesting, though. I did not know this.
I've had a lot of cats.
And she says, "Thought that was interesting, and it was something I never knew before. Thanks again." Well, thank you, Nikki, for writing that email. You taught us something as well. We didn't know that either.
And it just gave me a good idea for a new show or a show topic. A day in the life of a equine veterinary hospital staff member.
Yeah, that would be, a
vet tech,
You couldn't even talk about the elephant that was saved, and you want to go talk to a vet tech about all the sad cases coming into an emergency room?
Yeah, but that's different. That's not intentional. I mean, I'm sure they get their share of.
Yeah, I'm sure they get some intentional
things, but yeah, no, it's the cruelty I can't deal with. I can deal with accidents and blood and guts and the general ups and downs of life with animals, but.
Hey, and I'm sure I live in a place that has some of the biggest equine hospitals in the world. Yeah. So I'm sure we could arrange that.
Well, I always say I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the operating room or something. So let's see if we can be the Stable Scoop radio show on the wall.
There we go. All right. Well, Helena, we're going to have to wrap things up for today. I did want to remind everybody that we have a whole bunch of other shows on the network. You can find them all at horseradionetwork.com. They're easy to find. And you also, our show notes with all the links from today to Denny's site and to Equitrekking can all be found at stablescoop.com. And at Stable Scoop, you also find a contact link. So like Nikki, if you want to send us an email, we'd love to hear from you. And just drop us an email. Just go to the contact link on the website, and you can do that. And, of course, we have to thank Equestrian Collections for being our sponsor on the show today. We love Equestrian Collections, and you can follow Equestrian Collections or us on Facebook. Just go to Facebook and search for Equestrian Collections or search for Stable Scoop Radio Show and become a fan of the show. We'd appreciate that for sure. So now that you're moved, Helena, are you going to be on the show for a while?
I am going to be on the show for as long as you'll have me.
Oh, darn. What am I going to do about having the three? We have to have a show with you and two other girls then. So you can say that.
No. What if we have a show with, how about, I don't know, like George Clooney or something?
Oh, okay, there you go. Maybe three guys and you.
That would be fine. But one of them's going to have to be my husband. I mean, I just can't get around that. So.
We're going to have the Horse Husband show coming up, too. We can't forget in the beginning of the year.
That's right. I don't want to talk about the winter yet, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is true. You still live in a wintry country. You didn't move far enough south.
No, I know.
Well, until we meet again next week, Helena.
We will be back next week with The Scoop.